everyone. Welcome into the Flippin' Hippos YouTube channel. I'm Star. If you're new here or you haven't already, please consider subscribing and helping us feed a hungry hippo. And don't forget to hit the thumbs up. Today we're going to be talking about budgeting. So in the series I've been doing on bullet journals, we've done lists, initial setup. We've talked about menu planning. We've talked about house cleaning with the fly lady method. And today we're going to talk about budgeting. This is super important for everyone. It's something you can keep track of in your bullet journal. It's something to think about as we go into a new year. So I just kind of wanted to cover it very briefly. Many of you already know that I do promote Dave Ramsey on here. Keith and I are debt-free, and we have been for probably a decade or more. And it's possible for anyone to get there with baby steps, following Dave Ramsey's system. And I've said this with Fly Lady, and I've said it with other things, and I will probably say it again in the future. You don't have to like Dave Ramsey personally, and you don't have to like everything in his system or follow him exactly. But he does make a lot of sense. He has a lot of good points when it comes to how to budget your money and how to keep track of it and how to get out of debt. So you can take the things that work for you, apply them to your life, and leave what doesn't. So I do suggest everyone just take a look into him. He's got Instagram now and Facebook. He does have books and programs and things you can purchase, but you can get a lot of his information for free. Even just following him on Instagram and looking at his posts and hearing what he has to say can be immensely helpful to anyone that's floundering and doesn't quite know where to start. So that said, I'm going to talk about how to start a budget. If you've done one before, if you've never done one, if you think you already are a budgeter, do this anyway. Keith and I sit down and do this at the end of the year every year just to kind of see where we're at and where we're spending money and what we're doing with our lives. So it's a good idea just to look at your finances at least once a year, even if you think you're under control. But if you are floundering, if you feel like you're bleeding money, if you feel like you never have enough left after you pay everything that you need to pay each month, if you're struggling in any kind of way, this is important for you too. But this is kind of for everybody. So I suggest starting with making 3 distinctive lists about your money and your spending habits. Now, everyone's going to be different. Everyone has different bills. Everyone's bills are different amounts. Everybody's family size is different. The amount of pets you have, if you have special needs kids or special needs pets, if you have a lot of healthcare issues or if you don't, if you still have college debt. So there's no right or wrong way that you're spending your money as far as the needs and the bills. But everyone's going to be super different. And then where we all squander our money and waste it is different too. Some people love to go to Starbucks several times a day. Some people have lots of streaming apps. So this is where these lists come in handy so that you can kind of see where you're spending your money. Now, obviously, there's places you can't cut out. There's places you can't save money, such as your bills and your mortgage. And that's why we're going to do 3 lists. So the first one is going to be your bills and your have-tos. So write down everything that you have to pay every month that has no wiggle room. There's no bargaining. There's no getting rid of it. And it's not debt unless it's a mortgage or a car payment. Those can go on this list. Your credit cards and your other debt and your college, that's all going to go on a separate list because those are things you can pay down, especially like if I said you want to go listen to Ramsey and see how to pay those down. So I said there were 3 lists. There's actually 3 lists with a part B of the first list. So that's your bills and your have-tos. Write down your rent, your car payment, your insurance, your hospital bills, anything like that, anything you have to pay every month, and then skip a couple spaces on the paper and write down the debt stuff, the credit cards, department store bills if you have them, whatever your life looks like. But you want to have the set in stones and then the debts separate, because these are things you can pay off eventually. Your mortgages too, but if you're paying a rent, that really never goes away. So you want to have like your electric bill and all the stuff that really never goes away in one column and your debt in the other. I did say like write them all down and skip a couple spaces, but you can do columns as well, however you want to do it. Making your list is as personal to you as using a bullet journal. So things that you can pay off, things that you can't, but these have to be paid every month. Your second list is going to be money you spend on needs that aren't necessarily your bills. So the first list is the have-tos, bills. The second list is also sort of have-tos because these are your needs. You're going to put your groceries because we all have to eat to live. You're going to put your gas money, anything that goes into you living and surviving. These are needs, not wants. There is a difference, and you need to learn to differentiate that in your head. You need groceries. Eating out every night is a want. You need gas money. Driving all over the country on a whim is a want. You see what I'm saying? So the third list, guess what? That's your wants. And I want you to write down everything you spend on your wants. If you have to keep track of this for a month to see where you're really spending money, that's okay. If you can sit down and write it all down off the top of your head or kind of go through your bank statement, that's good too. But if you actually want to get like a tracker or make a tracker in your bullet journal and write down everywhere you spend money in a month on wants, that's good too. But you really want to be able to have a visual, an actual total of what you're spending on your wants. And this includes everything that's not a bill or a need. This is your Starbucks, your eating out, your special treats at the grocery store, your clothes, your makeup, anything that's not a necessity to live. And some folks get really shocked when they look at this. I spend $40,000 a year on Starbucks. So it is important to sit down and look at this. Also think about your subscriptions, your movies, your entertainment, your alcohol. These are all wants, snacks, things like that. So that's what you want to look at if you do need to cut out spending. If you're finding that money is tight or you're not saving enough in your savings account, the wants are where you can cut the money. I'm going to give you some tips on how to cut money out of your wants without really giving anything up. Take a look at all your subscriptions and see if you're really using them. And if you're not, out the door. Some people pay for a gym membership and don't use it. Some people sign up for gym memberships or other memberships and have a monthly payment coming out of their bank account or off their credit card. They don't use that gym anymore. They don't use that service anymore, but they've just never canceled it. And you're paying for it monthly. So kind of go through and look at those. Are you using all of these subscriptions and these things that you're paying for? Because if you're not, you should cancel them. And it's okay. I mean, it's human nature that we all forget. This is why companies have subscription services. This is why companies have you pay monthly to use them, because they know if you ever forget to turn it off or cancel it, you're going to keep paying whether you're using it or not. And that's how they make their money. It's human nature. But I'm telling you to think about it. Also, don't be afraid to juggle your streaming apps. You don't have to have all the channels all the time. Keith and I juggle ours. There's nothing wrong with it. When I'm into a certain TV show, or I see there's a huge drop of new movies on Netflix, or a certain TV show on HBO, I'll get that streaming app until I've seen all the movies I want to see and I've watched all the shows I want to watch. And then I cancel that one and I go get a new one and watch all of their stuff. And you can kind of rotate that all year long and always have new stuff to watch, but you're not paying for the ones you're not using. I am a huge proponent of not paying for stuff you don't use. I could be a multi-billionaire and I still would not have HBO Max as a streaming app for $6 a month if I wasn't watching HBO, because I'm not going to ever pay for something I don't use. My grandmother raised me this way, and my mother did too. So just think about juggling those streaming apps. You don't have to have, there's so many out there and they're nice to have them all, but you don't have to have them all at once. Have a couple. And if you find that there's nothing on an app that you're really into watching, or you're not using an app, get rid of it, get something new. And you can keep track of that too. You can keep track in your bullet journal of what you're watching and where you're watching it as part of your budget. We keep a couple around all the time. I will give you an example. We always have Disney because we are huge Marvel and Star Wars nerds, and we watch those movies pretty often on repeat. That's fine. That's what we do. And then I had seen last year, Disney was offering a bundle for $1 more than we were paying for the Disney app. We could also have Hulu in a bundle. Well, that only makes sense to pay $1 to get a whole nother app. So Hulu is one that I keep on all the time because I always have Disney, and it's only $1 more. We have Netflix because T-Mobile, our phone plan, gives us Netflix and Apple TV for free, so we always have those. And then we have Prime because I have Amazon Prime, and I actually do utilize that a lot for shipping. I order a lot of stuff off of Amazon for the business and for our household. So it just makes sense to use their Prime service for watching stuff too. Those are the ones we always have on. And then as far as like Showtime and HBO and all the add-ons and Peacock and Paramount, I just juggle them. If there's something I really want to watch on one of them, I get that. I watch everything and then I cancel it and get the next one. So think about doing that, but check all your subscriptions. Listen, I had a Spotify subscription from years ago that I caught last year. I had been paying on it every month. But oh my gosh, I keep thinking I want to cancel this and I keep forgetting. And then like my Kindle, that's a monthly fee. I've gotten where I'm juggling that too, because I read a lot of books from the Libby app, which is a free library app. If you're a huge reader, you need to know about Libby. It's an app you download on your phone or your tablet or your computer, and you just sign in with your library card and you can check out as many ebooks as you can read a month. So when I'm using the Libby app a lot and I have a lot of books there on my waiting list, or my shelf as they call it, I'll cancel my Kindle for a while. And then if I find a series on the Kindle Unlimited that I want to read, that I can't get all of it on the Libby app, I'll turn my Kindle Unlimited back on for that month and read all those books. So I treat it just like I do my streaming. I don't feel like I want to pay for anything I'm not using. I cannot stress that enough. But I challenge you to go through everything you're paying on, check all your cards, your bank accounts. Are you paying for things that you're not using? Like my Spotify that I had, and I knew that I wasn't using it, and I kept forgetting to cancel it. So like, force yourself to do it. We're going into a new year. Sit down one day and just go through everything, and anything you're not using. Are you paying for like your Walmart, but you're not ordering groceries? Well, you're giving them that money every month and not using the service. So either start ordering the groceries or cancel the service. You see what I'm saying? So go through all of those. I think that's where most folks spend money needlessly and waste money, is on all of these monthly subscriptions that you're either not using, you forgot about, you just keep forgetting to cancel. And they rely on that. Like I said, they rely on the human nature to keep paying monthly for something we're not using to make their money. So do that. If you are struggling to make ends meet, if you're finding that you're making ends meet, but you're not having enough money to put into a savings account every month, then it's time to make some decisions of what to cut out. And that's why you have that list of wants that you're spending money on, or a tracker. You can do a tracker for a whole month and you can take a look back at where you're spending money. Don't give up all your wants, because if your life is nothing but work and paying bills, it's crap. Do something for yourself, but find where you can cut money out. If you're buying coffee every day, if you're going out to dinner 5 times a week, I'm sure that you could go out to dinner like once a week, right? If you find that you have all the money for all the things you need and all the things you want, good for you. But still, cut out those subscriptions you're not using, because that's a waste of money. That is one of the biggest wastes of money. some tips on saving money. I'm going to actually do a video next week on how to save money in your business on the bottom line and increase your profits. But as far as your personal life, cutting out any unneeded wants or anything you're not using. Menu planning. We already talked about that this week. If you are menu planning and cooking at home and keeping to a grocery list, you can save money there as well because you're not running to and fro the store and you're having everything you need at home. You can consider doing all your errands in one day. That saves you time too. And time is money, especially when you're self-employed. If you don't go thrifting every day, but you find that you're running out to do errands every day, and I said it that way for a reason. If you're going thrifting each day and you're actually finding stuff that you're listing, don't just go out shopping and be a hoarder. Make sure that you're listing the items you find. That's your job. That's part of your work. But if you're going out every day to run different errands, you're wasting time. You're wasting gas money. You're just wasting time and money. So sit down and pick 1 or 2 days a week where you go out and run your errands and make them make sense. Make a plan in your head so that you're not driving all over the place and wasting gas. And also when you're out thrifting, think, is this thrift store next door to the Petco where I get my dog's dog food? Could I just pick that up now? Watch sales at the stores. I'm not saying you have to sit with the ads and make 10 lists and go to 15 different grocery stores like our grandmas used to. But I pay attention to things that we use all the time, things that we buy consistently, that we eat or drink in this house. If I see that it's on sale at a significant discount, I will buy extra and stock up and then have a week where I don't have to buy it, but I got it cheaper. Buy in bulk, get a membership to Sam's Club if that's what you want to do. If you have a huge family and you want to do that. There's lots of little things like that that you can do to save money. And it really just comes down to planning and being organized and having routines. When you have good routines in place, when you have a schedule, when you do errands and grocery shopping on certain days of the week, and you make your lists and you make your menu plan and you keep track of all of your expenses and your budget, and you're paying attention to what you're doing, and you're doing everything with intention, you're going to be a much more peaceful person because you're not going to be as stressed. You're going to save money and not feel as strapped. You're going to be knowing each morning what you're doing that day. Today I go thrifting and grocery shopping. Tomorrow when I wake up, it's my day to do photographs. And then the next day I do this, and you're always going to know what's for dinner, and you're always going to have a plan in place. This works for personal life. This works for business. If you're doing the Fly Lady house cleaning system, which I talked about in another video, your house is always clean and clutter-free. It's just a very stress-free life. It seems overwhelming to people who are new to planning, to budgeting, to menu planning, doing a household, weekly chore list, to doing the budgeting, to doing a bullet journal and having a specific schedule, routine to-dos. It can seem overwhelming when it's new, but when you bite it off a little bit at a time and make your lists. I did do a video on 10 lists everyone needs. These are lists you need to pay attention to going into the new year and things you want to implement into your bullet journal. If you have all of that in place in your calendars and you just take it one step at a time and set that journal up and think with intention, how can I be more efficient? How can I save money? Where can I save money? Where can I get recipes? Where can I clean? What time of the day can I clean? Can I carve out 15 minutes here? It really does make your life so much easier when everything is mapped out. And you don't have to have, I do this at 7 a.m. and 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. You can. It depends on your personality. But you can have a general idea of what each day is going to entail and a general idea of what you're going to do that day and hold yourself accountable. And write it down. It really does make your life so much more stress-free. You'll have more time to do the things that you enjoy in life, more time to take off from work, to recharge your batteries, to self-care and spend with your friends, your family, and your pets. So if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, let me know. Let me know down in the comments. I'll be happy to hold your hand and walk you through any of these lists. I'm going to stick any of these videos that have anything to do with planning and bullet journaling in one playlist for you guys, and you can go back and watch the whole series if you want to get started in 2024 having a more organized, efficient, proficient life. See you guys next time. Go make those 3 lists of your money and budget. Bye.